All right, folks, welcome back. We're talking to Towson football Coach Pete Shimmick on the phone. Coach, thanks for joining us tonight. Congratulations on the big win on Saturday against Campbell to finish the season 6-6. So just talk about that game. I was there for 3.5 quarters. It felt like it was a seesaw back and forth between you and Campbell. Campbell took the lead, you guys came back, and then the fourth quarter, you guys pulled out the win. So how great was this to go into 2026?
Yeah, it's huge, and I appreciate you being there and supporting us. Thought our guys played well up until about midway through the third quarter. I think we had about a 6-7 minute time frame there where we didn't play the way we're capable of. But with 10 minutes to go in the fourth, we're down 10. Winston Watkins throws a really nice pass to C.J. Schaefer. Scores, gets us within 4. Defense has a nice stop. We get the ball back with about 4 minutes to go, and did a great job. Drove down, and Andrew Indorf, he's now a Walter Payton finalist. Our freshman quarterback found Cleveland Charlton. The replay saved us because the refs called it out, and then after replay, we were able to get his foot in.
Nice.
So big time with 38 seconds to go.
Yeah. It was pretty. It was not a great crowd on Saturday. I felt like to me that could have been more people there. Because I don't understand why. You got college football right down the street from you. I'm only 20 minutes from the campus, and to me, I feel like that's a great affordable ticket instead of driving down to College Park and dealing with the traffic and all that stuff. And it's just right around the corner. And I thought it was going to be a lot more people there, but I guess the weather was different, or people weren't home. I don't know.
I think the threat of rain early probably scared a handful of people away. I would agree.
Okay. Yeah, but I felt like it was like, we could have more people there, and maybe on a better, on a warm day, you might have a full house, but it was still a decent, it was an okay crowd on a cold November day.
Good crowd.
Yeah.
Could have been better. I agree, and something that we're always talking about and always working on.
Yeah. Just talk about being 6-6. I just saw a stat real quick here. You earned you're 500 or better for 6 out of the last 7 years in the CAA, dating back to 2018. That's really good, for you. You've been 500 or better since you started here.
Yeah, you're glad you're 500. You're disappointed you're not 8-4, but you're thankful that you're not 5-7. So mixed emotions on that. I feel like we had our opportunities, we had our chances in other games, just didn't get it done the way we wanted to.
Right. Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah. So, thanks for the early birthday present win on Saturday, Coach. I was watching the highlights of that comeback, and I was like, "Whoa, wee!" So, what does it mean for you and your team to win on Senior Day?
Yeah, really happy for our seniors. Obviously, we had not played well enough to win a game at home. I thought we played well. Played 3 ranked teams at home. 2 of them going to the playoffs. Another one's a 9-win team. Excuse me. So,
okay.
In order to get that win finally at home was huge. And I thought our seniors, a lot of our guys played really, really well. So that was fun to see. Xavier Terry, Miles Brody, Dan Volpe, Gene Germain, Al Wooten, Jalen Montgomery. Just, really our seniors stepping up and playing really well. That was fun to see.
Yeah, it was. It was good. Adam, you have another question for him?
Yeah. So, just talk about the overall strength of the CAA this year, since the conference sent 3 teams into the FCS playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think our conference has, gotten as many as 5, 6 in. To get 3 in a year like this, probably Monmouth is the one that, feel like should have been in, but I'm not on those committees. So I think year in and year out, we've proven that we're a pretty stout conference. Need to be, you need to, be at the top part of that to get into the playoffs. So hopefully next year, that's something that we're doing.
Right, exactly. Coach, now you're in the off season. What do you guys got to do to get ready for next year? Because I know it's going to come around the corner. You got spring ball in beginning of March or late February.
Middle of March. Yeah. No, we gotta go out and finish up recruiting, getting ready to sign a high school class here December 3rd. We're gonna hit some. We're gonna get some transfers and really kind of finalize this roster so that by the time we get to January 20th, when our guys arrive, we've got the majority of our team already set.
That's true. That works. Adam, you have another question for
Yeah,
us?
so looking at your non-conference schedule for next year, a game that I'm looking forward to is you guys having to travel down to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. So what will it be like for you as a coach to face an SEC school on the road?
Yeah, I mean, what an amazing opportunity for our guys to play against an SEC team in that setting. I know a few years back, Towson was at LSU. So to be able to do this, I think will be a blast for our guys. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to embrace the opportunity and really embrace the game, make the most of it. And so should be a fun afternoon.
Yeah, and playing South Carolina will be a great test for you because it's an SEC school, and hopefully we can make a trip down there to Columbia, South Carolina. That'll be cool.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get there. Adam, you have another question for him?
Yeah, so, what are some of the keys, for your team this year that, stood out to you the most?
Yeah, I think, we found ways to be in every game. I think if you look at, our schedule, you look at who we lost to, right? You look at who we beat. Really, every game we were in it. And so, we played two teams, the last two games. Well, really, I think Bryant's a 2-10 team, and, Albany, all these teams, have played close games. And we played a close game with Villanova wins 9 games, and, we're within 5 points, or we're within 4 points with 5 minutes to go.
Right.
So our team just found a way to fight, found a way to scratch. I think our league's really good. Obviously, somebody's got to win every Saturday, but, seeing what that looks like, was really pleased with how our guys handled it.
That's true. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on this year. We love having you on since we talked to you, beginning during spring camp, and then
That's right.
all the way through August, and then, the first win against Michael Vick, that was good for you guys. And then, you had little bumps in the road here and there, but hey, you got a home win to end the season, and that's a better thing than not winning a home game.
No doubt. Glad to get that one done. Appreciate you guys having me on. Enjoyed our conversations.
Yes, and we would love to
Thank
get
you.
you on.
Thank you.
We'll get you on after National Signing Day, and then get you on for spring ball too, and see how everything goes.
That sounds great.
All right, sir. I hope you and your family has a great holiday season with Thanksgiving.
Happy holidays, Coach.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy your
Thank you.
All right, we will.
Happy
Talk to you
Thanksgiving.
soon.
All right.
I see you. Bye. All right, folks. Welcome back. We got Coach Pat Skerry here. He's down in beautiful Orlando, Florida, or Kissimmee, where he's playing. He's not going to be seeing Mickey Mouse anytime soon this week, but he's playing over near Mickey at the Wide World of Sports. So, Coach, thanks for joining us this evening. Congratulations on the win this morning against Rhode Island. So, just talk about this big win against a very good school in the A-10.
Yeah, anytime you can, play an Atlantic 10 program, like I said, a good one. They were 4-1 and great tradition at Rhode Island. A storied program. It was a really good win for Towson today. It was a team effort, defense, rebounding, and our ball security, and it's really a first-class tournament down here. So I'm glad we're able to take our guys down and get them these experiences.
So tomorrow you play Liberty. They beat Vermont today. So but tomorrow at 12 noon. So what do you guys have to do to get ready for that? Because it's another morning, almost like a morning mid afternoon time for you guys.
Yeah, noon tip on ESPN2. Liberty's outstanding. 5-0, and arguably as good a mid-major program as there is in the country. Richie McKay's done a great job there. First and foremost, we have to guard the three-point shot. They are elite at shooting the three-point shot. They're not deep, but the guys that they do play are lethal. So we've got to guard the three-point shot, and then we've got to play Towson basketball. They've got to, hopefully feel us physically, and then on the backboards, and hopefully we can get out in transition and get to the rim and make some plays.
Yeah, hopefully you can, and keep this winning streak going. Adam, you have another question for him?
So thanks for the birthday win today, Coach.
Appreciate you. Happy birthday.
And what does it mean for you and your team to be down there at an ESPN event?
Yeah, it means a lot, Adam. I mean, it's these early, Thanksgiving week tournaments, pre-Thanksgiving, to play games on national television against really good teams. It creates visibility for our program, creates opportunity because you're playing good teams, and then it creates experiences for the players. Being together, traveling. We're staying in a big-time hotel here at the Gaylord Palms Resort, and it also gets you ready, for your conference.
Yeah, and also to help you with the travel and
Sure.
the bonding. So you guys could be like a great team by the time March comes around, and it'll be a good environment.
That's the hope.
Yeah. So let's talk about today. Rhode Island came in the game averaging 16.8 forcing turnovers, and you guys won that battle today. So is that something you guys got to keep on doing tomorrow against Liberty? Because I guess if you rebound them, that you could actually win the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, we want to get more shots than the opponent, right? And one of the ways you do that is take care of the ball. The other way is you get on the glass. But I thought our staff did a good job of getting across to our players who executed the game plan about taking care of the ball against Rhode Island and hitting singles and keeping spacing, because they were excellent at turning teams over. And then you get a quick turnaround. You have a different style team tomorrow, especially in their ability to shoot the ball. So that presents different challenges.
Yeah. Well, the Rams today jumped out early on you guys, and taking on a team like Rhode Island you never played before. How did you get your troops focused? I mean, it's only down by 4. It's really easy. We could take the lead and go into halftime, and it seemed like you guys just kept crawling, and then you got the lead until and you kept it in the second half.
Yeah, it took us about 12 minutes or so in the first half before we got our footing. And then I thought we had out of the last maybe 28 minutes of the game, I thought we had probably 24, 25 pretty good minutes of basketball. One bad 3-minute stretch in there where they came back. So like I said, we've still got a lot of things to get better at. We're happy that we were able to beat a good, well-coached team today, but it's still early in the season. We've got a lot of work to do, and like I said, we've got another really important challenge and opportunity tomorrow against Liberty.
Right. Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah. So your star today was Dylan Williamson, who scored 25 points, and Tyler Tejada and another player. You guys had three players in double figures. So what does that mean for you as a coach, to see your stars, doing well this early year in college basketball?
Well, and the third guy was Jack Doumbia, and
Yes.
him and Tejada had 16 points and played good games. And Dylan was sensational. He just made big shot after big shot. He was the most talented guy on the floor today, and that's what he does. But we also saw a lot of growth. Tyler Coleman and Chike Ndefo really rebounded the ball and were great for us defensively as we continue to try to carve out some roles. And then I thought Morsek gave us 19 really good minutes off the bench. Because Caleb Mbea, who was our best player out at James Madison last week, was in foul trouble. So, we're still trying to work through some things. And then we've got some other guys that are good players that we've got to get going.
Yeah. And it's you got to keep them going, get them going. And this is still early in the year. So, you're still playing great teams in this tournament, like Liberty. And, last week you played James Madison, down in Harrisonburg, and that was a good battle too. And, these are just good. And then you got Kansas coming up in 2 weeks. So that's always a good way to get your players focused on what you got to do on the road.
Absolutely. Yep. That's part of the reason why we do it.
Yes. Adam, you have another one there? Big
so, looking at this tournament at the Wide World of Sports Complex, there's a lot of really great schools. There's you guys, Rhode Island, Vermont, Temple, UC San Diego. So what does it mean? To just talk about the strengths of the field at the Wide World Sports Complex.
Yeah, it's definitely the premier mid-major tournament in the country. That's why we were fortunate when we got invited that we jumped at the opportunity. You're in Disney, games are on national TV, and you're playing great opponents. So we're excited, and hopefully we can continue to get invited to these type of tournaments. I think it speaks volumes about our program.
Yeah, and plus it also helps you with recruiting too.
Absolutely. Anytime you're on TV, that creates visibility.
Yeah, and the people right now, there's seniors out there looking to places to go, and they're like, "Oh, Towson's on TV. Okay, I'm closer to home. Let me see what these guys look like." You never know. You could get a 5-star recruit from here.
Sure, absolutely. That's always the goal.
Yes. So you have Liberty tomorrow, and then you don't know who you play on Wednesday. So I guess you got to wait. Who do you have to wait for in the bracket on Wednesday if you get past?
Well, it's either UC San Diego, and Bradley and Princeton are playing right now, and Bradley's winning, so we won't know yet till the end of that game.
Okay. Because you have Temple and UC San Diego, Bradley, and Princeton.
UC San Diego beat Temple, so.
Okay.
Wow. Nice win.
Nice win for them.
Sure.
For guys, yeah. But are these just something that you guys are going to do every year to get invited to these?
Well, it's we try to. We always have tried to play in as good of these MTEs, multi-team exempts, as we can, multi-team events rather. We'll see. I hope so, but it's we don't have one on the calendar for next year yet.
Right. And when you guys start working on next year's schedule, like now?
Yeah, but the scheduling gets pushed later and later. It seems every year. So we've got a long way to go. We won't focus on that till after the turn of the new year.
Yeah, that's a good point. And plus, basketball's starting earlier and earlier. When I was a kid, it used to be Thanksgiving.
Sure. Yeah,
now,
not anymore.
It's October. Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I want to let you go. Enjoy the rest of your time down there in the state of Florida, and hopefully you can bring home a big championship. And we'll talk to you after the holidays. And I wish everybody
appreciate you. You guys have a good holiday.
You too.
Thank you, Coach.
Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I see you, bud. Sure. I see you. Bye. We'll be back.
Yeah.
All right, folks, welcome back. We're talking to Frostburg State football coach Eric Wagner, who the Frostburg State's in the second round of the Division III playoffs after beating Johnson Smith last week down in Charlotte. So, Coach, thanks for joining us this afternoon. How big was that win for you guys? It was your first time in that Division III playoff, and you actually, beat a very good CAA team.
Yeah, it's a very big one. It's actually Division II playoffs. Division III, what we used to be, moved up in 2019. So I think that part of it makes it even a little bit bigger. First time in, and first time we were in there to be able to get a win on the road at a team that won the CIAA, 10-1 record, number of outstanding players, and they had home field advantage. And I thought we went in there and played very well.
Yeah, you jumped out real quick on them, 7-0 in the first quarter, and then you basically held them in check until the third quarter when they decided they had a 7-yard pass. So what was the feeling like going into halftime? You're like, okay, I'm up 14-0, on a team that is really good in this conference you're playing against.
Yeah, I mean, we'd like the spread to be a little bit bigger. Probably could have been 17. We missed a field goal early on, or possibly 21 if we took care of some red zone plays on offense. But we did feel confident going into half that, we had seen a lot of what they were going to do and what they'd shown on film, and we'd held them in check. We knew that they were starting to get a little bit winded on defense. Thing with the playoffs are you only get to dress 58 guys, so your depth can kind of go down. So we controlled the ball offensively. We knew we were going to be able to control it more in the second half, and we really matched up well with them. I think we have a pretty good pass rush, and our pass defense is one of the tops in the country. And we knew they liked to throw the ball quite a bit. They'd been I think they were on their second or third running back. So we knew we could stop the run there and kind of force them into a passing game. We kind of liked what we could do, get our defense off the field, and then our offense be able to control the clock in the game.
Yeah, it looked like Jordan didn't have a okay day quarterbacking. So he basically used the ground game more or less than the passing game.
Yeah, he had a couple misreads. We had Ray Adamas open for a touchdown, just overthrew him past the fingertips, which would have been a big one to go up. I think at that point it would have been 21-0 or 21-7 in the third quarter. So just some missed timing, but he did have some big third down throws that kept drives going, which when you're running the ball how we're able to, and you get into a 3rd and 6 and you're able to convert it and then run the ball again. Some of those plays were big ones, but yeah, just off a little bit in timing. So hopefully get that cleaned up this week.
So this week you play against California University of Pennsylvania, and you played them earlier this year. So this is basically later, like what, a month ago?
Yeah, it was November 1st, I believe it was. So about 3 weeks ago or so.
Yeah. So what's it like playing a team a second time? Because the first time you see them, you're like, okay, we don't know who these people really are. You had to go to their place. You're going back to their place anyway.
Yeah.
So what do you see?
I mean, I think going back to their place, being there once before is probably the nicest part of it. We've been to the field. We know where we're going, everything like that. Not like when you go to a new venue and you're trying to acclimate yourself to it. We've been there and everything. So when you play a team twice, I don't think the first game has too much bearing on it. We had some big special teams plays. They had a big special teams play. They had a defensive touchdown from there. We were a little beat up and banged up. We got some of those guys healthy that we didn't have, so we liked that part of it. I know they're probably in the same situation where they had some guys down for that game. Maybe they have them back and things along those lines. So, you played them 3 weeks ago. They're probably going to be very similar still, though they've jumped around quarterbacks a little bit. So making sure we know who's going out there, because we may not see the guy that we played 3 weeks ago. So just making sure we know who's out there at QB is going to be important. But they'll change some things up. They're going to look at the first game. We're going to look at the first game, see what we did well, see what we did not so well, and change that up. And once you get down to it and the ball kick, they kick off and everything, it's the 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, 11 guys on special teams, and see who can make the most plays.
Yeah. Well, I think we had you on in August. Did we have you on in August? I think we did.
I've been on here before. I can't, honestly.
I
sometimes it really runs together and everything.
Yeah, we've been busy taking care of other things, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you were in the postseason. Cool. Good stuff. That's awesome. For 10-2 on the year, that's really good.
Yeah, this group's they've been great. They've been resilient. We've had overtime loss and overtime win, and another loss up to Cal, but some big wins to make sure we secured the automatic qualifier for the Mountain East. Finishing the year out with West Virginia State and Fairmont on the road. Two pretty darn good football teams there. So we're happy to be here, happy to be playing, happy to be one of the 16 left, and just going to continue to do what we've done and go out and hopefully take care of business and be one of the teams standing next weekend.
Yeah. So this is the quarterfinals, and then the following week it's the semifinals, or what do you do in this tournament? How many games?
It goes so. I always get mixed up on which one's the semifinals, quarterfinals. I think this would be the quarterfinals, then semifinals. So the next week is the 2 teams left in each region. So 4 regions. So basically, I'm originally from Indiana, so I use basketball terms. So next week's basically this Sweet 16, next week's Elite 8, then you got the Final 4.
That works.
I think that's the easiest way to remember it.
That's easy. Yeah, I think with a lot of these postseason tournaments for football, you're like now it's like you have all these different like semifinal. I'm like I thought that was already a semifinal.
Yeah.
Like how many games you need to play before you get to the final? It's like,
Yeah.
good Lord.
Yep. You'd play 1, 2, 3 in region, then you put you down in the Final Four and championship. Goals to go 5-0.
That works.
In
That
the
works.
playoffs.
So if you win this week, can you host a home playoff game, or does it depend on the seeding?
It would depend on the outcome of the Kutztown and Assumption game.
Okay. All right. Oh, I know Assumption. I went up there. The first broadcast I ever did with Bowie State, I was up there, and and that stadium was really cool. We had the internet working. We had massive people listening, and all of a sudden it crashed.
Oh man!
Yeah, and I had people like texting me like, "What's going on with the feed? What's going on?" I'm like, "I have no clue. Yeah, it's just the internet up here." But the only one person I know that went to that college is Brian Kelly.
Yeah, that he did.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had the same problem ESPN Plus had last week. I know
heard
our
about
game
that.
down there. Yeah, towards the end of the game, the feed ended up going out. My wife was down there, and she said she was getting, text message a second from people. What happened? Right before we went in and scored our last touchdown to go up 21-7. The feed went out. People were just blowing up phones everywhere to find out what was going on.
Well, I guess they're still trying to fix the YouTube TV bug. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Or some of these facilities, I feel like some of these facilities are so old. I don't think they're able to broadcast. Sometimes it's like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
Because I used to do some of the Bowie State games, and some of the fields down in Virginia are like old. I'm like, okay, how are we going to get this up and running? Yeah, it's like, yeah. Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining me on the Wednesday. I want to wish you and your family a great Thanksgiving, and we'll try to talk to you next week if you beat California. All right, Adam. Let's start up our interview here.
Sure.
A little classic bowling here. So, Adam, welcome to our
Sure.
guest.
So our guest here tonight, you remember him on the PBA Tour. In fact, he and his twin brother led the 1992 PBA Doubles Championship.
Beaumont Doubles.
Beaumont, Texas. And he's now a bowling coach at West Texas A&M. So please welcome Mark Scroggins. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And just talk about what was it like to bowl on the PBA Tour with names like Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams Jr. and Marshall Holman back in the day.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. This is a great honor and pleasure of being on the show with you guys. I started bowling on tour in 1993. Was my first full season, and my brother had already been out on tour. And so he was kind of showing me the ropes and stuff. And luckily I had him out on tour with me, and so I wasn't as intimidated with the guys because I'd already seen a lot of those guys, while I was out there watching Mike bowl. I'd go out and visit him, and I'd see, Weber and Parker Bone, Mike Albee, all those guys, all the Hall of Famers, and I kind of got to know him while I was watching Mike. And so I wasn't as intimidated as if I was just going out there on my own. Mm-hmm. So that kind of helped me bridge the gap of going from, just bowling in college, amateur, and then going to the PBA Tour.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first time you were on TV. I had the clip. You were bowling in doubles with your brother, and that's pretty cool. I always wanted to play baseball with my brother or bowl on the same team as my brother, and I did a couple times before. And it's pretty cool because you get a chance to bowl your brother, and you're the only one to yell at him.
Right.
You have the right to say things. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing?
And that's funny you say that because on the show, you can see me looking over at him because all he's doing is leaving 7 pins. Every shot, he leaves flat seven. Yeah, this is a shot right here for Mike. And even Mike Durbin goes, "Oh, is this going to be another 7 pin?" Yeah, so I look over at him, and because I'm kind of striking, I look over at him and I said, "You going to do anything different? Or are you just going to just leave 7 pins the whole time?" And the funny thing about it is Mike was always he always threw it a lot harder and straighter than I did. And I always tend to hook the ball more. And so on the show, for some reason, I was throwing a purple hammer and he was throwing a pearl urethane hammer,
Mhm.
and he was trying to swing the whole lane. I don't know what he was doing. So that, yeah, during the show, you can see me look over at him and go, huh, all right, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times before with my brother going like, like I was catching him one time in rec ball, and I was behind the plate, and I had to go out to the mound. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I felt like it was Bull Durham, like the movie, like I'm going out, like with
Right.
Kevin Costner coming out of the, the behind the plate going, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But
yeah, Parker and Hugh Miller just ran us over in the show though, because they were throwing, it was one of the first shows to throw reactive. They were throwing the purple pro rhinos and just killing us, and the lanes were hooking, and they shot 260 before we even turned around, and Mike was leaving 7 pins every other shot.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was a lot of fun though. I mean, that was the first that I just turned a PBA member in 1992, and then like I said, my first full season was 1993.
Yeah, you were on the Tucson Open on ABC Sports, so you had to face some guy named Walter Ray.
Yeah, that Walter Ray, man. I thought I had him too. Now, I was throwing a Columbia torque and I shot I think 240 or 250, I think, on that show, and I got up in the was it 9th frame? Yeah, I got up in the 9th frame and I got it out, and I knew the oil was starting to carry down a little bit, and sure enough, it just hung a little bit, and I left a weak 710. So, and then of course, Walter Ray strikes out to beat me. So.
Yeah, and that's Walter for you. He always finds a way to beat you at the end of the game. Like he could
exactly.
Yeah,
and that whole season, whole year, he was throwing that Ebonite Crush R almost the whole season.
Yes.
And that was the ball he beat me with, was that Ebonite Crush R, that red one.
Yeah. Adam, you have any questions for me?
Yeah. So since what was it? Since you were on the Tucson Open in 1993, what was it like to be around legends like Chris Schenkel and Nelson Burton Jr. when they interviewed you for the telecast?
Oh, well, I was nervous as heck. I know that. The whole show was just a blur because, of course, the first show I made with my brother in his doubles, it kind of helped because, he was there. He had just won the Sacramento Open when I won the double, or when we bowled the doubles. But this one was all by myself. I was on there, and it's just, I was nervous as heck. And then having, Chris Schenkel and Bo Burton there, I grew up watching these guys, on every telecast. And so, oh yeah, it was a time I'll never forget. But boy, I was nervous as heck, and it was just a blur. That whole week was just a blur. For some reason, I found the right ball. Dave Smart put me into a Columbia torque, and I just struck for days that week.
Yes, I have been fortunate, because I live in Western North Carolina, and growing up as a kid, I always dreamed about seeing the PBA tour in person. Well, I can say that I have. I have gone to Portland, Maine for the PBA League. I've gone to Reno, Nevada for the World Series of Bowling twice. Jupiter, Florida. I've been to Shawnee, Oklahoma, and next year will be my 3rd year in Akron, Ohio, for the Tournament of Champions at Riviera Lanes. So when I walked into Riviera Lanes for the first time a few years ago, I was like, I'm at a place where legends like Mike Allaby bowled and Walter Ray and Pete Weber, and you see all the signs and you see all outside. Come the doors here on that world famous banner, and it's like, I never thought as a kid I would be able to talk and interact with some of the people that I have from the world of bowling, and it's like, I know Walter Ray, I know Pete Weber, and it's like, I have to tell myself, like, Adam, are you in a dream? Nah, I'm just living it up and
Yeah,
really
yeah.
enjoying it.
Oh, I know
Mark,
it. I know.
Mark, it's like funny. I have Pete Weber's phone number, and I had Pete text me like, "Are you ready to go?" And I'm thinking to myself, Pete Weber's calling me. I'm like,
Yeah.
they're going like, like little Chris
Uh-huh.
enjoying his little fantasy when he used to watch him every Saturday afternoon on ABC Sports. I'm thinking to myself like, this is so cool.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
And it's
It
like,
is.
yeah, and it's like, Chris has Norm Duke's phone number, and it's like I've gotten to meet Norm Duke and Mud Moticelli, and it's like, it's like all the bowlers, they love interacting with all the fans, signing
Mhm.
signing bowling pins, signing bowling balls, taking pictures, and it's like a lot of people don't realize. You think about other sports, that's kind of hard to do, meeting your idols, but it's
Mhm.
like you go to a PBA tour event, whether it's a regional event or national event, and it's like they want to meet you, and it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
yeah, God, it's a really cool experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always said professional bowling is probably one of the best sports to get to know the professional athletes because you're so close to them all the time. There's not a barrier between us, and you can just sit right there. Like when I was on the show at the Tucson, there was people just right behind me, leaning up, whispering to me and stuff. So, during the commercial breaks. And so it's a great experience. If you've never been to a PBA tournament, I suggest go out and watch them and get close to your idols because it is the best way to meet them. Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's also be cool. Also, you're on TV because I was here. They had a tour stop here in Baltimore for a long time at Country
Mhm.
Club Lanes, and I think
Mhm.
your brother bowled. I think your brother bowled on one of them.
Yep. I
Yeah.
bowled there too. I didn't make a show, but
Yeah,
I
and
think Mike did make a show at Baltimore. Yeah.
Yeah, they put me behind the ball return, and Pete's in one corner, and the other, and you can see me on the entire broadcast trying to act professional, like trying to act really professional, like not like trying to root for him or anything.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like you said, it's the only sport that you could actually meet people, and meet your bowlers even after they're done off the lanes. You
Mhm.
run into them like, hey, can you sign this for me?
Yeah.
And they're not like Major League Baseball players going, sorry, I got to go to the batting cage,
Right.
like, or some kind of garbage they can't sign before the game or something. But it's a great sport, and I think people don't realize that.
Right. I think the more the people can, get to meet their idols, the better it is for the sport. And I think bowling is very accessible to all of their fans. I think.
Oh, sure.
Well,
Mhm.
well, let's talk about your job that you were doing right now. You're the
Yeah.
coach of the Western Texas A&M bowling team, and you're going to be retiring at the end of the year. So, why you decided to put up the whistle or whatever you do with the bowling coach and like go back on back
Well,
to bowling?
I've been doing it since I've been coaching the West Texas A&M bowling team since 1999.
Okay.
So it's been about 20. Let's see. About 27 years now.
Oh wow!
And the first 10 of those years, I did it as a volunteer. I still had a pro shop at our bowling alley, and so the team would actually come up to Western Bowl, and I'd coach them for 10 years while I was still running a pro shop. And then WT came in 2009, and offered me a full time position. And so then that's when I actually sold my pro shop and did it full time. And I've loved it every minute. I've met a bunch of kids, bunch of my bowlers that have gone on to be successful in their endeavors, not necessarily just bowling, but in life itself. And so but after 27 years, I just got a knee replacement, and so I'm slowly getting. I haven't bowled in 6 years, so I'm getting I guess the fire again to start competing because my knee. I don't have pain in my knee anymore, and so now I'm kind of wanting to go back on not necessarily senior tour right off, but at least start competing and hopefully maybe start making some senior stops at least.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's funny that now all the people we grew up watching on TV, they're now on the senior tour.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, why can't they just air that on TV, like a normal TV time slot?
Right.
Instead of going on pro bowling. No offense to bowl TV. You know, Dave Vermont does a great job. No offense to him and the crew, but it's like, put them on like some little cable channel so we can watch them. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. You know, ESPN the Ocho if they really have that or something.
Yeah.
But
So,
what I'm thinking is, you know, I couldn't beat these guys when I was younger. I don't know if I can beat these guys out on tour now.
Well,
so who knows?
well, now you got. I mean, you look on the senior tour. You have. It's called. If you go back out there, Mark, you got to compete with John Janowitz and.
Oh yeah.
Some guy who's named John Burkett.
John Burkett's good too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, former major league pitcher, and now he's on the PBA senior tour.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, since you're a coach at West Texas A&M, talk about the sport of college bowling, how it's evolved since you got there to now, because you've got, there's a lot of good men's teams out there, a lot of really good women's teams, and I love watching women's college bowling, especially the NCAA national championships when it's aired on ESPN, and it's like, it's really, really cool to see college bowling being aired on television and online. You know, back in the day, it really wasn't.
Right. Yeah, college bowling has really changed a lot, especially in the last few years. The women, they're kind of divided right now into you have your NCAA side of it, and then you have your USBC club side of it, and that's what West Texas is. We're club sport. We're the women are not in NCAA, and we're not in NAIA team either. So we're just kind of caught in the USBC club part of it, and I don't know if it's slowly fading. It's just changing. But the NCAA side of the women's is really expanding, and that's what everyone's kind of jumping to, especially on the women, because it's so hard to get women to bowl in college anyway. But now all the NCAA teams are getting all the talent, I guess, and so it's harder for club teams to field women teams now, and so that's why you're seeing a lot of the mixed teams on the club side of it. So, but there are, and it is hard to compete with NCAA schools because they give a lot of scholarship money, and on the club side, which what we're on, we're not able to spend that much money on scholarships. In fact, we're not able to give out any scholarships at this time. But and so it's kind of hard to get kids to come out to West Texas because we are kind of out here by ourselves. And so, but we've had a team for 50 years now. This is our 50th year. Our club team started in 1975.
Wow.
And so at least I got us to 50 years. That's why I kept on saying.
That's pretty cool, Mark. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like Mark, it's like we said about women's bowling. Like you got Vanderbilt, you got all these different, we had Bill Straubs, he was actually bowling, coach at Nebraska.
Yeah.
He's famously known on the telecast of Mark Roth doing the 7-10 split against him. And he told us a story one time. Like he's already had Mark in that match. And also Mark gets up and gets that 7-10. You're thinking like, oh, I can move on. And also Mark makes the 7-10 split. He goes, well, I guess I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
But,
that Nebraska actually started all this NCAA stuff for the women, and so he's kind of the pioneer for the women's bowling for NCAA. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I think there should be a lot more, and for women bowling and for men bowling. Yeah, men's bowling in college. You don't hear Wichita State. You hear little schools here and there, but it's more dominated by women's bowling now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the main reason for the why it's so popular on the NCAA side for the women is because of the Title IX. Schools have to be in compliance of a ratio of how much money they spend on men's sports compared to women's sports, and
Right.
that's why the men will. I won't say they'll never go NCAA, but there's a lot less chance of them ever being NCAA because most schools don't need more men's sports; they just need more women's sports. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
the women's side of NCAA is getting so popular because more and more schools are adding NCAA women's bowling.
Yeah, but they're also cutting some programs because Sam Houston, not Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin.
Stephen F. Austin. I was really surprised about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew her really well, and I felt bad for her, because they just wanted to a couple of years ago. I'm like, how did you lose money?
In fact, they brought home Stephen F. Austin their first national championship in any sport.
That's right.
And then they end up cutting them.
Right.
In any sport.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Crazy, Mark. Well, Mark, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and thanks for joining us tonight. And we hope to see you probably locally, because I know there's a senior tour sometime here in Virginia or West Virginia. Maybe I'll get in my car and drive the 4 hours over to Morgantown and see you guys. But
Morgantown. Yeah, I do see that on the schedule all the time.
And they had to build the Bud Moore thing, and I didn't realize that was in Virginia. And my parents have a house in Khakisville, Virginia. Maybe I should just wander down there and see them.
There you go.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on tonight, and we'll
thanks for having me. Yeah,
you're welcome, Mark. You're welcome.
All right, Mark. Thank you so much. We'll be
all right.
back.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, folks. Welcome to our interview with Matt Barr, who from ESPN. He's actually here in Maryland for tomorrow for the 50 Days of Sports Center in 50 states. So today he's in Maryland. The other day he was in North Dakota. So Matt, thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome to Maryland. I know you just got here. So what is one thing you're looking forward to be here in the state of Maryland for tomorrow?
Well, I mean, gentlemen, good talking to you. The first thing I'm looking forward to is just getting out to the golf course, because I think this is going to be a great PGA Tour FedEx Cup playoff event. But look, if I'm here, we're going to talk about food. We're going to give some crab cakes. Mel Kiper Jr. said it's mandatory. I have an orange crush. So we're going to do all the food stuff, all the fun stuff, and get ready to do Sports Center tomorrow.
That's cool. You should get Mel to come with you, because he's from this area, so he should give you a...
Yeah, Mel he'll be out there. He'll be on Sports Center with me tomorrow.
That's cool. With me. Nice. He's a nice guy. I've met him a couple times around here. He's a whiz when it comes to the NFL draft. It's like, wow. Where do you get all this information? Geez. I wish I had the information for that. So.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, when you're around him, you just feel like you got smarter after talking to him.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to lean on the local as much as I can.
So just talk about yesterday. You were in North Dakota to watch the Bison play football in practice. So how cool was it watching a very good SBS school that should be Division I football sometime soon, because they should be hopefully joining a better conference. I feel like they are just going through that SBS winning championships after championships.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time at Fargo. I kind of hit the lottery with two of my Sports Center 50 and 50 assignments, because they assigned me to both national champions. So I was in Ohio a couple of weeks ago with Ohio State, the FBS national champion, and then Fargo for the FCS national champion yesterday, North Dakota State. And it's kind of fun seeing that program, because the facilities are as good as anybody in the country at any level. And so to be able to see what they've done there and win the 10 national championships in 14 years. They had a new head coach last year, Tim Polasek. He comes in, wins the national championship year one. It's fun being around a program and a team that really understands who they are and their identity. And it doesn't matter who the coach is, doesn't matter what the year is. You know what you're going to get out of North Dakota State football. So that was fun. That's cool.
Let me bring in my colleague, Adam here. Adam, go right ahead, buddy.
Sure. So I enjoy watching you on the pregame show, the halftime show, and the postgame show here in North Carolina, Matt. So it's an honor talk with you. So, what are some of your key storylines going into week 1 of this upcoming college football season?
Yeah, look, what we've seen over the past few years, normally you look at a week 1 schedule and you're thinking, okay, most of the good teams are going to play guaranteed wins, but that's just not the case anymore. And I think that's what's made the sport so exciting over the past few years. And even if you go to week 0 with the Big 12 opening up, Kansas State, Iowa State in a conference game, that game means a lot right out of the gate. And so for me, I always reserve opinion, at least for the first 3 weeks of the season, because these rankings that are attached to these teams don't quite mean anything yet. I mean, if you look at the AP and the coaches poll, they were pretty similar in that they had Texas number 1, but Texas also lost their starting quarterback and a boatload of receivers to the NFL. And I know Arch Mandy's got all the hype, but we haven't seen him play a body of work other than a spot start against a bad Mississippi State team that he'd come in relief. And so all these question marks are going to be out there for some of the best teams. That includes Ohio State, the defending national champion. They're going to replace 2 running backs and quarterback. I know they've got Jeremiah Smith back, but to me, that's what makes the first few weeks fun. Because right now, if you look at it, I think Penn State's loaded. I think if you're going to vote for a number 1 team in the country, it's got to be Penn State at this point because of what they have coming back. But at least week 1, we get to see these teams who might have a couple of question marks. And then on Monday night, I'm going to be in North Carolina. I'm going to be hosting a pregame show and halftime show of North Carolina TCU and Bill Belichick's debut, and even that's a hell of a game. And so when you look at what we're in store for here in just a couple of short weeks, I said last year was the best regular season we've had in college football in a couple of decades. I think week 1 is going to set the table for what I anticipate to be another great season.
Yeah, let's talk. We do the ACC stuff around here, Matt, and we saw Bill Belichick at the ACC kickoff, and sir, they had 220 media members in one little room talking to Bill Belichick. It was almost like a fire code hazard. It's like if they pulled the fire alarm, everybody would be like, they're running out. But it was a lot of people, and it felt like, and I made a comment to one of my buddies, like it looked like Taylor Swift walking down the hallway, like everybody in their little people following Bill Belichick. It was like people who've never been to the ACC kickoff. It was like, oh, I'm going to follow him right in that room. It was like a long line, Matt, of people just walking down the hallway with him. It's crazy, but it's cool for.
Yeah, he's got that celebrity. I think it's the biggest thing the ACC's ever seen.
Oh yeah, exactly. We didn't. They had to rope things off this time around for the coaches. When they do the breakout room, used to go up there and just like put your spot there and put your camera and all that. They had to tell people to stay away from the podium. That's crazy. That's crazy. So anyway, let's talk about the ACC real quick. Florida State. We cover Florida State. We love Florida State. Adam and I. Last year, tough season for Mike Norvell. This year, they got Alabama at the new renovated, Doak Campbell Stadium. A lot of people down there in Tallahassee want them to start off better than what happened last year in Ireland. Do you see them hopefully containing Alabama in that game, or can they pull off an upset to get Florida State back to where they were 2 years ago?
Well, yeah, it just depends on how Norvell built the roster this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you hate to say it about Florida State because I believe they're one of the blue bloods of college football. When they're on top, it's good for the sport. So the year that they went to the ACC championship game, won it, went undefeated, got left out of the playoff. When you look at that team, aside from Jordan Travis, a quarterback, he had come in a couple of years prior, but that team was really built out of the portal, and it was a portal team that hit. And it hit in a big way. Mm-hmm. The following year, he tried to run it back with another portal team, and it just didn't hit. And that's the danger of living in the transfer portal to build your entire roster. I think most coaches now, you start seeing the ironic part about this is that Dabo Swinney would get hit and bashed all the time for saying he's not going to go live in the portal. He's going to develop and then maybe get a couple of kids here and there. Well, that turns out that that's probably the way you want to go about it. Because when you build your team, if you go 75% high school, 25% portal, at least you're developing guys that you know. Portal kids are in the portal for a reason. You don't know what happened, the circumstances, do they like to compete, or is this legitimately just looking for a second chance? And so back to Florida State, if he built the right kind of roster, Florida State's got talent to begin with. And last year, look, for Florida State standards of bad are usually what? I mean, a bad season's 8-4.
Right. Yeah, 8-4.
So last year was an absolute tire fire, and I can't imagine it's going to be anywhere near that again this year.
Yeah. Well, Matt, you're here in Maryland today and for tomorrow. Let's talk about the team down in College Park, the Terps, and also there's another team, it's a local team around here. We got a lot of good local teams in Towson and Morgan State. So what do you think about first the Terrapins down in College Park? Can they hang in the Big Ten? I feel like my opinion is I think they should go back to the ACC because I think that's where they were better in football. Basketball, they're good in basketball. Keep them in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because there are times when all of us, when we just go to the default of what our brains say that we should know, and it's always Maryland ACC. I think a lot of people still, like when you think Nebraska, you're like, wait, they're a Big 12 team. Well, no, they're not. They're a Big 10 team. And so there are a lot of schools out there regionally that you just connect them to what we knew growing up. But look, I've always been a big Mike Locksley fan. I think he's a really, really good head coach. I think he's got a good offensive acumen, and I think he understands it's a tough job at Maryland, but there's also a lot of talent in the DMV where you can bring guys in and build something there. And so it's just unfortunate that you have a conference now that spans all the way here to Maryland out in Eugene, Oregon as well. And so I've always thought that if you could find the right backing and support for Locksley and what he can do offensively, you can put together a really, really talented team that's going to give people a lot of problems. And so I think he's entering year 7. I know people probably would have liked a lot more out of it since he started. I know they had a down year a year ago. Yeah. But, again, there's talent in this area. And if he finds a way to do that, hit the portal with what he can do with a quarterback, Maryland's always going to be one of those teams. And if you're one of the bigger schools in the Big Ten, you probably don't want to face them with something on the line.
Yeah, you got to do like the page like the old Miami Hurricanes back in the early 80s. Stay in home and make it state of Maryland. You get all the good Maryland players.
Right.
Because it seems like they all go to like Ohio State or Penn State or, Florida State gets some of the kids from Maryland. Like, if you're Locksley, try to recruit people around here in Harford County and Baltimore County, all these good little schools, like high schools, keep it in the state and you can actually be successful.
Well, it's there, and that's kind of like the analysis. Same with kind of Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of talent that Schiano can get in that tri-state area that most people don't know about, or one of the big SEC schools or something in the Big Ten will just go in and pluck one here and there. But it's kind of a similar situation. If you really mine your local area, you could field a lot of talent.
Exactly. And you have the final question because we got 11
Sure.
minutes.
So, what's it like to work with Jesse Palmer and Joey Galloway and Coach Dan Mullen doing all those college football shows at ESPN?
Yeah, I love all three of those guys, man. Like, Jess and I were together for 2 to 3 years, and then he went back into the booth, and me and Joey, we just had so much fun. Laughed a lot, loved talking college football, and had a great time when we went on the road. And then Dan Mullen comes in, fresh off being one of the hottest coaches in the country at Florida. And what Mullen did with us is, he just sees football differently. And you could just tell that he is an offensive genius. And so not only watching games with him on Saturday, but then he and I called Thursday Night Football together for 3 years. And that just made me better being around a guy that saw football that way. I'm going to miss him this year, but I'm ecstatic he's getting back into coaching. I think UNLV is going to be a team that you have to watch to be a serious playoff contender out of the group of 5. And so, being around these guys, they become friends because we're with them. We're with each other 16 hours every Saturday. We get at the network at 11:30 a.m. and we don't leave till 2:30 a.m.
Oh my God!
And you do that for 16 weeks, and so you get to know these people. They become your family. They become some of your best friends, and that's certainly the case with Joey. Joey and I have been close now 7-8 years, and Jesse and Coach Mullen as well.
That's cool. Well, Matt, I wanted to let you go because I know you just got here to the state of Maryland, but thank you so much for coming on tonight, and I hope you have fun with the state of Maryland. Enjoy all the great scenery. We got great crowds. We got great environment, great, Baltimore City down there in the Inner Harbor, go around and see all the good little shops and just have fun. Welcome to Maryland.
All right, fellas, I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and have a great football season.
All right, yeah. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Matt.
I see you. Bye.
Chris, we need to get him on the show again.